Hello and welcome, everybody. We're so glad those who are joining this live webinar right now and those who are going to be watching this video recording. This is a presentation hosted by our CE5 meetup group in Port Washington, all about close encounters of the fifth kind. We highly recommend that you watch the Stephen Greer documentary, Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, because it's all about how we have a connection to our extraterrestrial brothers and sisters, conscious beings throughout the universe, and we're all here to serve as ambassadors of peace and love. And so it's very, very fascinating. So we have meetups every month, and so we also do live webinars talking about ETs, about spirituality. And so this is one of my favorite topics, which is, the seven best meditations and how to connect with your higher self. And again, there's so many different meditations out there. I'm just going to be highlighting my favorite seven that I think are the best that I really enjoy. So, but before I jump in, uh, I'm also, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Tim Duffy. I'm the founder of Electus Society. It's a 501c3 non-for-profit to develop conscious leaders with real-world skills. I'm also the co-founder with Yin of the Port Washington CE5 meetup group. I'm a leadership trainer, I'm a life coach, and I'm also a Reiki master teacher, and I've been doing all those things for over 20 years now. My claim to fame is really I help and grow. I was part of the team to help grow the National Society of Leadership and Success to over 1 million members, and I managed and coached over 600 people. And then I did a lot of volunteer work with Landmark Worldwide, where I was a former head coach, and I went through their programs, and I ended up coaching the programs and then coaching the coaches in the program, and I got to work and coach, several hundred people. So it's all been a great experience because that's what I'm really committed to: empowering people, helping them realize their full potential, and also to be conscious and conscious leaders. So, what are you going to be learning about this, training that I have, this live webinar within the next hour and a half? I'm going to be talking about several things. First, we have to start off with what is consciousness, and as it kind of relates to what is your higher self, right? And I'm going to give you different perspectives because I'm a student, just like all of you, trying to understand from what science says, what psychology says, what religion, what spirituality and the New Age movement says. And then we're going to talk about how to meditate and know whether you're successful at it. And I'll share with you my favorite seven best meditations. And guess what? In this live webinar, we're going to do some of them. So that's what I'm really excited about. We'll also talk about your types of dreams and their meaning, the best affirmations to start your day, and just overall different ways to connect with your higher self. So before I jump in, and because I'm talking about a lot of sensitive topics, I always love to give a disclaimer that I respect all of your views, whether you are atheist, agnostic, spiritual, non-spiritual, different religion, Islam, Christian, Jewish. It doesn't matter to me. I respect all your faiths. All I'm here to do is basically share my research, what I have found, and just find what resonates with you. I'm just part of that mission to help educate and raise everybody's consciousness. So I hope you know that it's coming from a place of love and there's no judgment here, right? So then, if we're talking about meditation, why don't we start off with a calming meditation? This is just a 2 minute meditation. It's from one of my favorite YouTube channels that has, it doesn't have a wide variety of different meditations, but I'm going to use another one of them later in this presentation. This is just a way for us to get settled, get ready to absorb all this great content and information. It's a chance for not only me, but also for you to increase our awareness and increase our focus. So it's just 2 minutes. Let's do that right now. So I'm going to turn off my camera and let's enjoy.
Welcome to this mindful moment of stillness. Let's take these next 2 minutes to find peace and presence within ourselves. First, I want you to find a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit on a chair, on the floor, or anywhere you feel grounded and at ease. Gently close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever feels right for you. Now, take a deep breath in and let it out slowly. Feel the air moving through your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. Allow your breathing to find its natural rhythm, without trying to change or control it. As we enter into this moment of stillness, give yourself permission to be here, fully, in the now. This is your time, a precious pause from the hustle of your day. I invite you to bring your attention to your thoughts. As thoughts come into your mind, simply observe them. Imagine they are like clouds passing in the sky, coming and going without you needing to hold on to them. If you find your mind wandering, it's okay. It's natural. Gently guide your focus back to your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest, or the air entering and exiting your nostrils. Remember, there is no right or wrong way to do this. It's all about observing, not judging. You're simply noticing what's happening within you, moment by moment. As we come to the end of this meditation, take one more deep breath in and out. Bring a gentle smile to your face, acknowledging the peace you brought to yourself in just these 2 minutes. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes or lift your gaze. Take this sense of calm and mindfulness with you as you continue with your day. Thank you for joining me in this mindful moment of stillness. May you carry this calmness and presence with you.
Namaste. All right. So let's jump in and talk about what is consciousness or you're conscious, or and it can also be spelled in different ways. When I first heard of the term conscious or consciousness, I heard it from watching the movie Pinocchio. I don't know. You feel free to put in the chat if you've ever seen Pinocchio. And Pinocchio's conscious was represented by this Jiminy Cricket. And so that's what I first heard or learned about that word. But I always love to give you the actual definition. And for a lot of people struggle to define what is consciousness. So I looked it up, researched it, and so to me, it's a very simple definition. If you could define consciousness in one word, it's simply awareness. Okay. Now, what is awareness? I would say it might be just accessing information of both, having awareness of both your internal and external existence. And this has led to a big debate between science and religion. Where does this consciousness come from? Is it God inspired from above? Is it something that's just happening in our neurons firing left and right? It's still a big debate. But remember, conscious can be spelled in different ways and also have different meaning. We also come to this term conscious. It's a cognitive process that elicits emotional and rational associations based on an individual's moral philosophy or value system. What does this mean? It means that we're conscious beings with feelings. And when we do things that are constructive, we feel good. When we do things that are not constructive, we feel bad. And we have this internal conflict, right? Again, I would say that sometimes there may be extremes, as people with sociopaths, psychopaths that really struggle with this idea of having empathy and feeling remorse, but most people in general have that, right? And again, just to go on a side tangent, I've studied different personality traits. I've studied things about parental styles, like different styles that parents, the way they teach their children. And it's unfortunate that a lot, like I think it's over 60% or more of psychopaths or sociopaths who like lack empathy had a lot of abuse as a child, right? Physical and emotional abuse, which is unfortunate. So let's go into this again, back to this conscious debate. The secular view, non-religious, it's like, okay, this is just genetically determined. We just pick up these patterns from our culture. And then from the religious view, it's like, no, we have something within us, a divinity. There's this voice within that really dictates, what our conscious really is. So if we continue down this role, this debate between science and religion has been happening for a long time. And I just love this little image that says science searches for answers, and guess what? Religion searches for answers. Science has strict laws and practices, religion has strict laws and practices. Science has lectures, religion has lectures. Science has big heavy books, religion has big heavy books. Science has individuals in long coats, religion has people in long robes. And if you study a bit his science and history, science, there's stuff that could be blown up, and in religion there was things that were blown up. So again, we can go on and on and on about this. Science as God is a man-made idea, and guess what religion says? No, man is made by God. All right. So, what does psychology say about this consciousness? Now, psychology there's a lot of different people that invented the whole field of psychology. One of the most famous individuals is Sigmund Freud, right? And he basically says, in terms of consciousness, and there are three parts to everyone's personality or consciousness or their who they are. And so the first one is the id, and this is usually your selfish desires, your instincts. And then you have this ego that's really trying to balance these desires with your morality, what we call the super ego. So here is your ego trying to balance between, all these desires, whether it's sexual, physical, etc., and then your morality, the constructive desires, right, of what wanting to do good. And so you have to balance those both. So that's Sigmund Freud's view. I'm going to lead you to maybe a different perspective in a little bit. So what does religion say? Well, the if you consider some of the largest religions in the world would be Christianity. There's also Islam. There's so many religions out there. I can't cover all of them, but I'm just going to highlight some of the main components of the Abrahamic faith, right? The Abraham was the father of both Judaism and Islam and Christianity. And so in Exodus 3:13, there's the famous story of Moses talking to the burning bush, which was represented by God. And in that story, something amazing happened, right? He asked, if I come to the people of Israel and I say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me, and they ask me, what is your name? What shall I tell them, right? And God said to Moses, I am that I am. Isn't that a very interesting way to describe God as I am that I am? Just very interesting, Say that I am has sent me to you. So we're going to come back to this term I am because we're going to see how important those two words are. In fact, I would say the words I am are the most two important words in the English language. So continuing, if you now go into the New Testament, according to the Bible, you have this figure named Jesus, whose real name is Rabbi Joshua ben Joseph. And this individual, helped shape our entire history. And he said a lot of different things in the four books of the New Testament, right? Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I have read all of them, okay? Not only have I read them, I've read them several times. And what's so fascinating to me is how sometimes they're different and they're different stories about what happened to Jesus and what he said. And sometimes some of them are a little bit different, which I found very fascinating. But in John 11:25, Jesus said to his people, I am, again, look at those two words, the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, shall live. Okay, and whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe in this? So that's very interesting that he said that. And then in John 5:30, he says, I myself can do nothing. Wait, why is now Jesus saying that he cannot do nothing? As I hear, let me, it's hard to read with all these different things. I do not, as I hear, I judge. It's not my judgment that's righteous because I do not seek my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me. Okay. So this is very interesting that Jesus basically says, I can't do anything, and I'm not following what Jesus's will is. I'm actually following my God's will, the Father who sent me. That's very interesting. So he really does consider this separation where he talks about God as Father, but he's also saying, within me, right? So we're going to keep talking about this. So there's some other quotes. Believe in me when I say that I am in the Father and the Father is in me. So he's been talking to God, talks about God, but he keeps repeating that God is within him. The Father is within me. Or believe because of the miracles I've done. And then he says this ultimate statement, which I think is something of the most powerful statement mentioned by Jesus. He says, I can assure you that whoever believes in me will do the same things that I have done. Wow. So if Jesus supposedly has done miracles, brought people back to life, cured people, healed people. It was able to stop the storms, calm the nature. Wow, he's saying you can actually do these things too. Whoa, now that's very shocking. And they will do even greater things that I've done because I'm going to the Father. Wow. All right. So I find this very, very fascinating. So, what does spirituality say? Now, there's this famous individual by the name of Edgar Cayce, and he lived during the 1900s and during the Civil War in the 1800s. Uh, and he was a devout Christian, studied, was raised, but something happened to him. He was supposedly visited by angels. He basically had a whole experience that we don't have time to go into his whole bio. But what he did is he started helping people. And what he would do is he would go in a state of relaxation, of lying on a couch, and would do deep meditation and suddenly be able to tap into a greater awareness that we are just starting to recognize. People have different names for this awareness. They could call it remote viewing, seeing things that are not physically in front of us. It could also be called the Akashic records, accessing all the information of everything that's in existence in the past and the future. And guess what he did? He used this gift to help people. And he's not a charlatan, as some psychics or mediums would say. Why I would say that is because he didn't charge anybody one penny for his readings. He would just do it from a place of love and service. And he gave over 14,000 readings. Because guess what? All his readings were documented by his wife and another assistant that just documented every single thing that Edgar Cayce said. And even the most incredible part was that he started when he was helping people, he would speak in different languages that he did not know those languages with the exact dialect. Like it is some incredible stories that you can find. And so, and then I'm going to show you who is the head of the Edgar Cayce, or at least at once was the head of the Edgar Cayce Institute. It was the director. I think he's now moved on to maybe a different position, but it's John Van Auken. And he's read all different Edgar Cayce's materials and all his different readings. And out of that 14,000 readings, I think I needed to share with you, if I haven't mentioned already, 12,000 of them have come true, right? 2,000 have not, or maybe have not happened yet. So let me share with you what John Van Auken says according to Edgar Cayce. What is his belief about consciousness and where we come from and God and all this other kind of stuff? So check this video out right now.
Cayce identifies the reason for our existence as, quote, that the created, that's you and me at the soul level, would be the companion to the creator. The companion. This is the reason we were created, and as a result, the created, our soul, is given opportunities to, quote, show itself to be not only worthy of, but companionable to the creator. So your situations and your karma and your dynamics are opportunities for you to become more godlike, more godly, more companionable to the creator. And the qualities of the creator are love, patience, understanding, those things, and life force flowing, creative forces. So that's what you're working on building, and that's what your deeper self seeks. If you lose track of that, the deeper self starts to withdraw, and then health really becomes a problem. Never think too highly of yourself and never belittle yourself too much. You have almost lost hold of yourself at times and feeling sorry for yourself. You have nothing to feel sorry for, exclamation point. God is just as mindful of you, though you have made a wreck of some people's lives. And you'll have to meet it, karma, you see. But that you are alive, that you are conscious, that you have the opportunity in this period of time to apply yourself in the reconstruction of what man is looking forward to should encourage you to know that God is mindful of each soul. Then use the abilities that you have, and you have many. Often, Edgar would say, your abilities are latent within you. You haven't engaged them. They're all there. You were created in Genesis 1 in the image of Elohim. You have all the powers of the Creator latent within you. You have to engage them. And here he is saying, you have many talents and abilities. Nothing save self stands in the way of the entity making or becoming a channel of blessings to many. For the entity may be assured, for the entity will find, nothing in heaven or hell or earth may separate thee from the knowledge and the use of the I am presence within, save selfishness or self. And then in another reading, he says, self is the only sin, that is selfishness. All the others are just modifications of that expression of the ego. So now you see cooperation is a more powerful word than you thought because it takes you out of selfishness. As soon as you start to think to cooperate with someone else or with the life forces or with nature, you are coming out of self-focus, selfishness, and that breaks through the barrier.
So I really love that video because that was the first time I ever saw a video that explained that um, that what was the purpose of why we've been created, right? If God is the first consciousness and it's this, entity being of light that created, he individualized himself. He basically created us with the same ability of consciousness. We're like gods in embryo. And what is our purpose? He wanted something to love, and our job is to become worthy and companions to the creator, right? To God, what we term God. And so I just find that so fascinating, in terms of that I don't think is often heard enough. Like why we're created, why are we here? Hold on.
Cayce
So give
identifies
me
the
1 second.
reason for our existence.
All right, let me open up the screen again. So, what is the next slide I want to share with you after this one? Okay, it is about Alcoholics Anonymous. Why do I want to talk about Alcoholics Anonymous? Because I'm a person who studies leadership development and success, and if you want to talk about people who are in a form of addiction, they, people who are addicts are willing to sacrifice their family, sell all their jewelry, steal whatever it is to help fight that addiction. And so the Alcoholics Anonymous program has been some of the most successful programs in terms of transforming people's lives. And there's a whole big it's called the Blue Book of all the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I read it, and it was interesting if you know all the 12 steps or you know people who've done this 12 steps. So the first step was admit yourself that you're powerless when it comes to whatever addiction, whether it's alcohol, and your life has become unmanageable. But look at what step number 2 is: believe in a greater power. Yeah, that you as an individual have come to believe that a power greater than yourself can actually restore you to sanity. And what is that power? It's just basically saying, turn your will over to God. You need to make a decision to turn your will and your entire life over to the care of God. But here's what the book said. It says, we're not going to tell you what God is. Okay? You are going to have to define it for yourself. You get to define it as whatever way that you understand him. And the reason I love that is because, people have different definitions of what God is. You know, sometimes when we're raised in maybe Catholicism or other things, we just imagine this dude, you know, in a long robe that tells us, and we don't resonate with that. Okay, I personally don't resonate that. You know, but you get to define it. And what was so interesting about this 12-step program is, guess what they said? They said that we tried to remove the whole idea of the 12-step program and remove God from it because we didn't want to turn people off. Because again, you know how religion can really affect people. And guess what they found out? The success rate of the program plummeted. They could not have a successful program if they did not include that. So each person in the program gets to create their own conception of what that power is. Regardless of whether you're an atheist, agnostic, or believe in different religions, they have always given different names for this power. So I just listed some of them, but it could be a lot different for you. So one of them is your conscious, that is God. It's your intuition, your gut. Again, that's a big thing when it comes to leadership development. It's like you're a leader and you have all these different options, but somehow there's something deep inside you in your gut that tells me this is the right way and this is the wrong way. Even though everyone's telling me to go this way, go this way. And guess what? That turns out to save people or help people, and you had no idea, but thank goodness you followed your gut, right? It could be God, G-D. It's that I am, according to Exodus 3:14. It's the I am presence. It's Allah. It's the Father. It's the Christ. It's the Holy Spirit. It could just be love. It could be God's in nature. It's the spirit of the entire universe, an all-guiding, all-powerful force. It's the creator. What in Hinduism is Brahma, right? This creative intelligence. So as you can tell, being part of Electus Society, I find it difficult to basically tell everybody what their different definition of God is. So I just love the term higher self. And why do I love that term, the higher self? Because it could just be the best version of you, right? That's what I want you to do. That's what I want you to follow, and that's what I want you to listen to. So here's my consciousness summary. If psychology said that your ego was to balance your id and your superego, morality, I would say maybe that the spiritual texts and Freud were onto something, but maybe he had the order wrong. What if it's that each one of us has a higher self, what we call the I am presence within us, and that is the entity, the individual, the connection of all of our morality, why we want to do constructive things, why we feel bad, and this is how we should entirely live our lives with love and only doing the constructive things, and then all of our id, all of our instincts, all of our desires, right? Living in this 3D world, we call that in spiritual text would be your outer self of what we call the ego. And that's what we're trying to do, is trying to gain control of that ego and then be guided by your higher self. So again, you guys did get to define what God is for you, but that is based on my perspective and my research, what I have found. So now let's talk about connecting to God or connecting to this higher self, connecting to the best version of who you are. So what are the 5 things that you could do to connect yourself? The number one, hands down, is meditation. Okay. If you don't have time to meditate, that's a sign that you really need to meditate, more than ever. I always find that the funny instances where I get busy, I get in work, and I'm like, I don't have time to meditate. And then suddenly I lose things, I can't find things. But the moment I stop, I take a deep breath, I relax, suddenly I now open up my eyes again, and all these seemingly big problems seem to evaporate or disappear. Or suddenly, once I'm in a calm state, I know exactly where I left my keys, I know exactly what to do, and just things happen with ease, peace, and harmony. So, isn't that something that we all would want to have? I personally do. So, what do different spiritual texts say? How often should you meditate? Well, I think that if you want to live your life with more love, compassion, connecting with your higher self to guide you on all different actions, you need to do it frequently, right? Not just once, but many times. And I have an ideal or goal for me. And so when I was younger in my career, my goal was to just be, do it at least once a day. Could you even do it for 1 minute or 5 minutes? And for some people who have kids and all this other stuff, that's a lot, right? But you got to start somewhere small, even if it's a baby step. I'll tell you me personally, as I'm increasing my connection with my higher self, my own presence, as I'm doing more and more things, if you take on more and more responsibilities, the more it is required of you to actually meditate more frequently. See, with more greater frequency. So what my goal is right now is to do it at least twice a day for minimum 15 minutes. And what I'll do is I'll set an alarm because again, I'm busy, I'm things that I want to do, and I'll just set it and I'll do a meditation. And we're going to be talking about different types of meditations right now, and I'm going to share with you my favorite ones. Ideally, you should do it in the morning. Ideally, you should do it at noon, and ideally before you go to bed at night. Now, do I personally do that? No. I do that throughout the day. I may do mini meditations, taking 1 minute to do some deep breathing, to close my eyes, to say some affirmations. But what my goal is now is 15 minutes at least before the afternoon, 15 minutes, and then sometime before the evening, another solid 15 minutes. All right. Some people do it for an hour, 2 hours. I'm like, God bless you. Do what you can, and they feel amazing. But I'm only going to share with you what really works for me. So what are the different types of meditations? So we started the presentation with a regular calm, stilling meditation. Here is a grounding meditation. What is a grounding meditation? It usually involves images of nature. It usually involves you having your feet touch the floor. I've even have some people even walk outside and just with their barefoot touch the floor, touch the ground, touch Gaia, touch Mother Earth, and they already feel a different experience. Well, guess what? We are electromagnetic beings. And so if anyone who lives in a house or apartment, guess what? Do you know that on the side of the house there's a big wire that goes directly into the ground? Why? It's because electricity needs a grounding wire. And so we need that grounding as well. People even buy grounding sheets and they find that it accelerates healing, keeps them more calm. So whenever I hear about a grounding meditation, it usually will involve you either imagining your feet on the ground and you growing roots into the ground, or you could just imagine a golden cord coming down from your spine, connecting to the center of the earth. Again, these are all variations. So I would say starting off with a grounding meditation. So again, so this is a meditation that's going to talk about a forest. It's going to talk about leaves and growing roots. So it's going to be about 2 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoy and do this grounding meditation with me right now. Let's go.
Hello there, and welcome to this 2-minute meditation for grounding. Begin by sitting in a chair with your feet touching the floor. Relax your hands on your thighs with your palms facing upwards, and close your eyes. Begin to breathe slowly, in and out, noticing the feeling of how the air expands and contracts your belly and chest. Relax your body from head to toe and begin to imagine yourself in a beautiful, calming forest. Stay here and just admire the view, the trees, the sky, feeling the grass under your feet. Maybe it's autumn here and you feel the fallen leaves under your feet. As you stay here, relaxed and still, visualize how tiny roots begin to grow from the soles of your feet. These roots grow into the earth and make you feel grounded and secure. You now connect with Mother Nature's positive energy, making you feel so protected and loved. See how these roots begin to grow deeper and deeper into the earth, becoming thicker. Observe how you feel now. And when you feel ready, move your toes and fingers. Open your eyes and continue your day filled with centeredness, confidence, and compassion.
Namaste. Don't you love his voice? It's so calming and relaxing. So that's the grounding meditation. So the next meditation, it would be a head to toe relaxation meditation. This usually involves somebody, if it's a guided meditation, you're listening to someone saying, okay, do some deep breathing, relax, and I want you to become aware of your feet, and your feet become heavy and they come relaxed. And then we start to go up towards your ankles. And then we move from your ankles, there's calm and relax. We go to your legs. And as you can tell, just you focusing on the different parts of your body slowly from the head, from the toes to the tip of the head, or it could be reversed from head all the way to the bottom of your toes. It starts to help your whole entire body relax, and you can just actually meditate and really, really feel that peace and that calm, which is one of the whole idea when people ask, how do I know whether I'm meditating or doing a good job? Some people say, I struggle with meditation. It's like, do you feel calmer? Do you feel happier? Do you feel more relaxed? Right? Well, then that's what the goal of the meditation is. And there's so many different ways to meditate. Some people just doing deep breathing. You notice whenever you hear some scary news and whatever, you tend to tense up. But the moment that you take a deep breath and relax, like it's actually that is the way. That's a form of meditation. That's a way of you just releasing. And this goes even all the way back to ancient times, even in Egypt. If you guys are aware of the famous pharaoh Akhenaten, who told everybody and challenged all the priesthood that says, we need to worship not all these other gods, but just the one God, the sun, the Aten. And they had these, pictures of Aten, and the sun rays would come down, and they would show the Ankh, right, which is representing of our life force, and it would be right around his mouth, right? Because it was the secret was through your breath, which I thought was very, very cool. The third meditation is called a white light meditation. And so this means that you're just sitting down, or it could be lying down, whatever, and all you're doing is you're imagining white light, like the white light of the sun, either hit your chest and your heart or hit your third eye, or it could be the opposite where you just imagine the light is actually coming from your chest, from your heart, and radiating out to your body, right? And so I always tell people that why should you meditate? And I tell them you should meditate because it's the same way on why you should take a shower every day, right? Or take a bath, because you are alive, you move, you actually sweat, and if you sweat, eventually bacteria will grow and you will stink. And so if you don't take a bath, you're going to stink everywhere you go. Well, why do you need to meditate? Is because your mind stinks. We're electromagnetic beings. We're like tuning forks. And guess what? You don't even know this, but there is I want to use the word cacophony. There's a whole types of frequencies of anger and a hatred all surrounding all of the earth from different people who are vibrating all those different things. So why do we take a bath? We have to cleanse ourselves and we have to protect ourselves from that, right? Like you don't know this, but right now there's radio waves in the air, frequencies. You can't see them with your naked eye, but there, the moment I turn on my radio, I can hear a station. Where does that come from? Frequencies are being sent. And so if our thoughts and emotions are different levels of frequency, well, guess what? Our mind can get cluttered. We can really take on that influence. And a perfect example would be if you ever entered a room and there's an angry person and you start to feel yourself really getting upset and frustrated because you were in that presence, and you're starting to pick that up. Now, people who do a lot of meditation, they're able to protect themselves in that white light and not be disturbed by that. And the same thing is opposite true, is like maybe there might be a person who's sour or angry in that room, but as a result of you vibrating and especially after deep meditation, feeling love, guess what? that person end up changing in that room. Just like a tuning fork, another tuning fork can vibrate. And this would best be described as, imagine there's somebody that you love, like your grandmother or somebody, and the moment that all your family is in the presence of that very loving person, everybody's happy, everybody's loud. It's because they're vibrating love. So again, white light meditation is, to me, you connecting with higher source so that you can then radiate that and protect yourself. The fourth meditation is just affirmations, just, saying different things all throughout, the different times, to just say, hey, every affirmation starts with the words I am, right? So what are you doing when you say I am? You're calling upon God force energy to help create that within you, right? So if you say I am strong, I am fun, I am powerful, well, what are you calling upon? God, and that ability to create, to manifest in that affirmation. So those are very, very powerful meditations. So guess what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to actually do a meditation. I'm going to share a meditation with you that actually incorporates all these three into them. I love it. And this is especially great for beginners. Now, I do some of these meditations, the white light meditation, on my own. I could just imagine myself, white light hitting my third eye and white light radiating from my heart all across my body. But some people struggle and they need some of that guided meditation to help them do it. That's perfectly fine. And then I close out every meditation with affirmations. And I'm going to share with you in this live webinar, this training, some of my favorite affirmations that I use. And where did I get them? I didn't make them up myself. I got them from an ascended master, Saint Germain. Okay. So let's do this meditation. It's about 8 minutes. Oh, well, hold on. Did I skip it too far? Hold on. Let me see. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay. No, somehow I missed it. Well, uh, maybe I'll come back to it later and see if I can find it. But for some reason it disappeared from the from the slide. But I'll keep going, and we'll find other meditations to do, and I will share that meditation for at the end. If anybody who fills out at the end of this training, we're going to have a survey, and I love for to give you feedback. If you provide your contact information, I will email you all these different meditations that we're going to do, including this white light meditation that I want to share with you. Oh, and the reason now I know why it's not here, because I moved it in the presentation. We're going to do that guided white meditation a little bit later. Okay. So that's why I'm not wrong. The presentation is right. I just forgot for a second. So the next meditation is called the nature meditation. This is my favorite one. Why? Because you don't have to do anything. You just have to walk in nature. There's something about when you just walk outside, and you don't even have to walk in a forest. Some people live in the city, some people live in different areas. You live in a suburb, you're like, "Oh, I don't have access to this whole park area to just go out there and see the birds." And I'm like, even if you just walk down your neighborhood, even with houses, and even the houses have a couple of trees and lawns and stuff like that, you can actually feel calm and relaxed. And I did this, and I noticed this because I'm a person who loves to feed my mind. Yeah, and Dina, I'm just noticing some of the comments right now. I love forest bathing. Yes, that's another term for it, right? But when I was walking, and I usually walk my dog, Milo, out in the neighborhood, I was always putting headphones in and listening to podcasts, listening to the worst thing, news, which is all going to be negative stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I don't feel good after I listen to all this podcast, even though I'm learning stuff. Let me use this time when I walk my dog and be outside in nature just to listen and observe. And I would say for the last 6 months, every time I now walk in the neighborhood without listening to podcasts, guess what? I am having more awareness than I've ever had before. I'm seeing animals. I even actually at one point, saw a fox. It was really, really cool. I can now see things that I've never seen before. I just feel more relaxed, more calm, connected with nature. And if you want to even enhance this anymore, you could add some affirmations, right, as well. So that's another one. The sixth one is sound meditation, making sounds from low frequency to high, and this will help balance your chakra. Now, here's the thing is, I'm actually going to play a 2-minute clip of sound bowls, uh, uh, and that I found on YouTube that was actually very pleasant. This is a very long one, which is 39 minutes, but here's the whole point. Sound meditation, I have not had any formal training about doing sound meditations. I know that there are a lot of people with a lot of skill doing the sound bowls. I actually think, from what I have read and what I've researched, guess what provides sound? Your vocal cords, your chest, your stomach, your diaphragm. We have the ability to actually balance our chakras with our voice. And how did I know this? Because as I started doing more meditation, I just started to be inspired to start making sounds. Okay. And you can start from low sounds to high sounds. And I'm very intuitive because I've worked on this being a Reiki master. And so sometimes I'll just sit and meditate and I'll just make whatever sounds that I think that my body needs or whatever I feel like, like humming or making that sound. And then I'll just repeat it or different sounds back and forth, low to high, high to low, and or do all the different levels and I feel so much better. So I'm just going to give you a simple example with my voice so you guys can go along with me. So here's just a low sound. Now I'm going to do a little higher. Okay, again, I'm not a professional singer, but you get the idea. And somehow I'll just start doing some vocalizations and I'm sitting there meditating, whatever I need. The deep lower sounds for me really affect my solar plexus because guess what? I had a lot of issues growing up from childhood about self-esteem. And so it's like that where's where your power is. And so sometimes when I do my meditations, it's really about getting that whole chakra back into balance. Okay. So I won't give you any more of my vocalizations, but you guys can practice this on your own. I've even found listening to songs that I really like a little beat or a little rhythm, and I will just sing that, and somehow it makes me feel so much better. Even some of the best church hymns that you listen to. Wow. Have you ever listened to Silent Night? How all the different notes and frequencies that it hits? Ooh, that just soothes your soul. I love it. So I'm going to pay a little 2 minutes of this bowl chakra cleansing. We're not going to do the whole 39 minutes, otherwise it would take over the whole presentation. I saw from the chat that you guys can't hear any of the sounds, so I'm just going to send this as an additional resource. Thank you guys so much for letting me know. It may be something with the Zoom settings that they're trying to help protect copyright or something like that. So my apologies for that. Okay. So, but you guys get the idea. Listening to different sound bowls to actually calm and having those different frequencies to help can really help you. So the last meditation that I want to share with you in terms of best practice is the Wim Hof breathing meditation. Okay. So if you anyone who's ever heard of Wim Hof, he's a very, very interesting character. Had a very, very tragic life story. Wife committed suicide, left him with kids, and so he had to survive and had to really, take on this role. And what he found was that something about ice, the cold therapy, dipping into cold water, doing deep breathing transformed his life and it transformed his health. And he's been able to do such amazing things, including um, to be able to, actually be injected with a virus that on the average person would cause them to have all these different reactions. And guess what he does? He has no reaction. The reason why he doesn't is because he has this breathing meditation kind of technique to actually awaken your immune system. And you might say, wow, well, this sounds kind of crazy. But now they've actually done videos and they've done research and research papers on this method. And what they found is when you do deep breathing, and then at the last 30th breath, you blow out. Okay, so to breathe in, like for a couple of seconds, then breathe out. And then you do that at about 30 times, and you can start really oxygenating your whole body, and it might even get a little lightheaded, right? But on the 30th breath, where you're breathing out, and once you blow it all out, you hold your breath. And what that does, you can hold your breath for as long as you can. Some people can do it for 30 seconds. Some people can do it for a minute. Some people can do it a minute, 30 seconds. Some people can even do 2 minutes or even longer, right? Deep sea divers can do it for like 6 minutes and beyond, right? But what does that do? Once you hold your breath, it actually activates your whole immune system. It basically increases your adrenaline, and you can feel the urge of survival, of trying to wake up and trying to grasp that air. And guess what? That's what wakes up your immune system. So at this point, I don't want to do it right now because I don't want you all to get lightheaded, but let's do at least 15 deep breaths and holding it for 30 seconds. Okay. And I want, feel free to, share in the chat, how you make that, how that might make you feel. Ready? Okay. So let's breathe in and out and two and out and three and out and four and out and in 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 and out. Let's do five more. And out and in and out and in and out and in and out and in and out. Two more and in and out. And last one and in and blow it all out. And as you blow it out, and then hold your breath once it's all out. Hold. All right, that was 30 seconds. Okay. So I can just describe you for me, just doing those deep breaths, I felt more alert. I felt more awake. Um, I also, after about 20 seconds, I felt a sense of calmness. Now, again, I could have pushed that. Right now, I can tell you I can probably hold my breath for about a minute and 30 seconds if I'm in a calm state. But again, Wim Hof doesn't do this once, the 30 breaths in and the 30 breaths out. He does it several times. And I can just tell you this one anecdote. One, I didn't get the vaccine for COVID back in 2021. My wife got sick with COVID in 2020, we believe, because she got sick right in that March timeframe. But because of all these different healing modalities that I gave to her, she recovered very quickly from her fever. And when she had to go to the clinic, they said, do you have COVID? She's like, yeah, I think I had COVID. Can I have a test? She's like, do you have a fever? You're like, I had a fever, but I don't have it anymore. Like, well, no, no, we're so scared of tests that we don't only give it to people who have a fever. Go away. So we never really knew whether she had COVID, but it was likely she did. I didn't get sick that whole time. And then in 2021 was the Omicron virus going around, and my wife got sick again oh my goodness. And so what ends up happening is I started to feel a little congestion in my chest. And I'm like, oh my goodness, Tim, is this going to be after 2 years, you're going to finally get it? And I'm like, no, I refuse. So I was taking vitamin C, I was taking different supplements to help prevent me from getting sick. But then, even with that tightness, I did the Wim Hof method of this deep breathing 1 or 2 times. And guess what? After that moment, I felt like it turned on my immune system and all that congestion in my chest was completely gone. I didn't feel any more tightness. I didn't get sick at all. So that's just vouching for some of the best, methods for meditation, as well as using this Wim Hof meditation to really boost your immune system. Okay. So, if you want to share what you did, what you experienced in doing the Wim Hof breathe method, please feel free to share it in the chat. Okay. So now we went on one big side tangent, right? What was the 7 best meditations? I shared with you what they are. Okay. Um, but we started off with saying, how can we connect with your higher self, the God presence within you? And so one of the second ways, the best way to do it is to do automatic writing. Please feel free to share with me, anybody, if you've ever done any automatic writing, and in the chat. I'd love to hear what your experience has been. I do automatic writing, especially after a meditation. It's going to be very powerful. So if you have a piece of paper, I would love for us to do this meditation, and then we're going to do some automatic writing for just a minute. Okay. And so if you could ask God, if you could ask your higher self any question at all, what would you ask them, right? Take a piece of paper, or if you don't have a piece of paper, okay, hopefully your phone is on silent so you get no distractions. You can pull up the notes section on your phone, or like if you have a pen and paper, and I want you to write down what that question might be, okay? So take about 15 seconds to do this, right? What your question is. And the reason why we're doing this is we're going to write this question out that we're curious and want to know the answer to. And I'm not going to do this exercise with all of you right now. And then we're going to do an 8-minute meditation. And this is the meditation that I was like having trouble looking and finding, and now I know why, because it's right here in this part of the presentation, because it's going to be a relaxation from head to toe, or from toe to head. It's going to have white light from your head and your heart, and then it's also going to have some affirmations. And then once we're going to be done with it, I'm going to ask you to do some automatic writing and get an answer to this question that you have. Okay. So let's do it right now. So I'm going to give you 15 seconds to write that question, and then we're going to do the meditation. Okay. Okay. All right, I have my question. All right, let's do this meditation, and then it's about, I believe, 8 minutes. Let's do this. Let's go.
This is a meditation for relaxation and for recharging your energy field. Get nice and comfortable. Place your hands on your belly and just take a couple of deep breaths just to relax and settle yourself in. As you inhale, you're going to imagine filling your belly with air, feeling it expand. And as you exhale, you're going to release and let it all go, feeling your belly contract. Nice deep belly breathing. Inhaling, feeling your belly expand. And exhaling, feeling your belly contract. Do a couple more of these breaths at your own time. Just settling in and relaxing. This is your time. Everything else can wait. All other thoughts can be put on pause for now as you take this time for you. In nice and deep into that belly, filling it with air and releasing, letting it all go. And now I just want you to return to your normal breathing. You can relax your hands down by your side or on your lap if you like. And if you haven't already, just close your eyes. And I want you to bring awareness to your feet that hold and support you. I want you to just feel them relaxing, feel them softening. And then I want you to travel up your legs, just feeling everything softening. So your ankles, bringing your awareness there, feeling them soften and relax. Your calves, feeling them soften and relax. Your knees, softening and relax. Your thighs, your entire leg, the left and the right, soften, relaxed. Your pelvis area, softening and relaxing, just melting into the floor like you're laying on a cloud. Your stomach softening and relaxing. Your chest softening and relaxing. Your shoulders and your arms softening and relaxing, sinking deeper into the floor. Nice and relaxed. Your neck softening and relaxing. All tension is just melting away up into your jaw, softening and relaxing. If you're clenching your jaw, just gently release it. Feel that release. Softening and relaxing any tension behind your eyes and your eyebrows. Your face is just soft and relaxed. Your entire body is soft and relaxed. You are soft and relaxed. And now, in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize a beautiful white light radiating from your heart center. This light is your inner light, your inner essence. And no matter what is going on in your life right now, it is still there. It is shining bright for you. As you become aware of this light, as you see it glowing there in your heart center, it starts to become bigger. Visualize it becoming bigger. Visualize it expanding to fill more of your chest area. See it growing and forming an orb of protection around your arms, your belly. It's growing now, it's covering your neck. It's moving to cover your legs. And suddenly, this orb of light from your heart center now surrounds your whole body, like you are sitting in a bubble of protection. Visualize that in your mind's eye. Feel it. Know that it's there. Know that you are surrounded in this beautiful white light. This white light heals you. This white light protects you. This white light restores you. Repeat quietly to yourself, I am healed. I am protected. I am restored. I am healed. I am protected. I am restored. Know that this white light is with you always and is there to keep you safe, to keep you aligned with the light that you are, and to wash away any fears or anxieties that may be troubling you. This white light is your protection, your armor, and it is there for you. Now, just bringing your awareness back into your body, back into the room. Gently, when you're ready, just wiggle your toes and your fingers, just getting a little movement into your body. And when you're ready, you can blink your eyes open and just take a nice stretch. Just stretch your arms up over your head, giving yourself a nice stretch. And you are done. I hope you've enjoyed this meditation.
What a great meditation, right? I just love that one. That really helped me in my that meditation is, I think I'd have to look back, maybe it's 10 years old. It just really helped me on my journey of that meditation. I'd love to hear your feedback and comments in the chat. But now let's go to the next part, right? We wanted to do some automatic writing. So you had a question on your piece of paper on your notes, and I'd like you to answer it. And feel free to even write a new question that you may have and just start writing. I'm going to put on the timer for about a minute or so and just write and connect with your higher self, and whatever comes out on the paper comes out on the paper. Let's do that right now. Go. All right. It's been 1 minute. So I love to open it up so you guys don't just hear me talking all the time. I love to have anyone feel comfortable to share what they got out of doing this automatic writing. And so while you guys are thinking about it, I'll just share with you briefly what I had. I had a question about a job, like a this opportunity that I had with this potential client. Should I take on this job or this work? And I asked my higher self, like, what should I do? Should I do that specific, job that they were offering me, and taking on some money. And so it was just that whole area, like, just kind of confused. And so as I did the automatic writing, it's like, whenever you're connected with your higher self, you don't even have to worry, whether you do the job, you don't do the job, all your needs will be provided for. everything's going to work out. Continue doing your work of meditating 2 times a day, 15 minutes, and all your needs will be provided for. Amen. And it was like, oh my God, like all this anxiety that I had, like, okay, should I do that? Should I do that task or work, that speech opportunity or not? And it's like, no, like you don't have to worry about it. If it serves the highest good, it will come. So that's what I got just from my automatic writing. So that's what I like to share. Who else would like to share what they got out of doing that meditation or doing the automatic writing? And Halen, I just saw your comment. Great meditation. I know, right? It was so awesome. Oh, Yin said, you need more time to write. Laugh out loud. Okay. But Yin, would you like to share what you got so far from your automatic writing? Yin, you're on mute. Still on mute. There you go. There
Oh,
you
yeah. Um, I didn't finish writing,
go. Sorry.
but
Next time.
I asked the question, I asked God, will I meet you? So this is what I got. Maybe I just imagined it. God says, I am the air that you breathe. I am the road you walk on. I am everyone you have interacted with. I am the child that you bear, and I am the resistance you face. When you look at yourself mirror, you are looking right at me. That's
Wow.
what I got. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that is so good and that is so powerful. And see, to me, God is light. We are all light beings. We are individualizations of God. And so what you just represented, it's like we're all connected. And that's why when I've done all these spiritual readings and it says, don't send any negative thoughts to any individual persons because you are just sending hatred out to yourself, right? And then if I'm a child of God and that person's a child of God, even though they're a different family, different, like, that's my brother and sister. And you're like, well, what about evil people or bad people? It's like, well, these are just people who are making decisions and choices that are destructive, and that's why there is karma. Things will happen to them, and in this time or the lifetime of the next, because God loves them so much to give them that experience to learn from that. So I think that's beautiful. So anytime I've been angry at somebody, I'm like, oh, no, that's just me. That's just another version of me. That's just another soul. If I was in their shoes and I was, had the same parents that they were had, I'd be acting the same way. And you just got to send them love because they just have to grow up and learn like all of us have to learn. So that's what I was just inspired to share from Yin. But that was very, very beautiful. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anybody else would like to share what they got from the automatic writing? I'd love to hear. Hey Lynn, how about you? If you don't mind me calling upon you, if you're available to unmute. If not, just let me know in the chat. I'd love to hear what you got from automatic writing. Are you available? If not, that's fine. Okay. Also, is there anybody else that would like to share? Okay, got it. All right. Well, I want to also respect each one of your own privacy in terms of your sharing. This could be a very, very personal thing, so I'm not going to force anybody to put you on the spot anymore. So thank you so much for Yin for sharing. I shared, and for all the people that got something out of it, and also for all those who are watching this video that got some message. And next time I do this training, maybe yeah, I'll follow Yin's advice and give maybe 2 more minutes instead of just 1 minute. All right. So we talked about the different ways to connect to your higher self, the God presence within you, the best version of you. So one was meditation. Two was, doing automatic writing. The third is actually affirmations, right? What we talked about before. It's setting an ideal standard for you of what you're trying to achieve. Who do you really want to be? And so we are measured by our thoughts and actions by that standard. So how do I want to live? How do I want to speak? Who do I want to be in this everyday moment? Who am I? And I've done a lot of different leadership programs, as I mentioned before, in Landmark Worldwide, where they basically talk about the spiritual aspects of affirmations, but they don't say, oh, this is what you need to do. They basically say, who are you as a possibility, right? And you say, who I am is, which is just another version of an affirmation. So I've developed who is Tim Duffy as these three things. Who I am is love, who I am is fun, and who I am is empowerment. And so those are my affirmations. You can feel free to write down your affirmations that represent who you are, what you are what you're trying to create and who you want to be. And those three things show up as many times as I can in my life when I'm interacting with friends, family, community. I'm all about, again, the love, having fun, making jokes and having a good time, and then empowering people. So I want to give you about 30 seconds to write down what are your affirmations, the most powerful affirmations that really resonate with you, and so that you can actually repeat them often to yourself whenever you're in a moment. Who do I want to be? Who am I? I want you to write that down right now. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Let's go. Ten more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and time. Okay. So besides those affirmations, remember how I shared with you that I've read a lot of different spiritual texts, including ascended masters, like studying Jesus, studying ascended master Saint Germain, and these are very powerful affirmations that I have learned that can be very, very beneficial. And again, you can feel free to write these down, or as I'm also going to send out this recording, I'm also going to be able to, for those who fill out the survey, I can email you as soon as you complete the survey. The thank you page will pop up, and you can download a whole PDF of this entire PowerPoint presentation. And I'll also send you the videos as well. So here's the affirmation that's very, very powerful for me that I have found is very successful. So you face the sun, right? And when you're facing the sun, even if the sun's not there, you just imagine, close your eyes and imagine facing the sun and say, mighty I am presence. And again, you can use whatever words that you want that resonate with you. My higher self, God, Jesus, whoever you feel that you resonate with most, but this is what the affirmation that I learned. Mighty I am presence. I face thy eternal sunrise. I receive thy radiance and activity visibly manifest in my experience now. And what I do is sometimes in the morning, often I usually do this almost every day. I'll either do it in my office or I'll go outside and actually physically face the sun that's in the east. Or even if there's clouds, I still do it anyway because I know that the sun is always behind the clouds. What a great metaphor for life, right? And I say this, Mighty I am presence, I face thy eternal sunrise, and I receive thy radiance and activity. And I imagine just light hitting me, right? Like filling my whole body up, like just I'm feeling that radiance. I'm feeling it activate, hitting every different cell of my body, and it's visibly manifest in my experience now. So it's not just in my imagination, it's happening to me at this moment. And it's almost like you are charging your car, right? But you're charging your whole body. So that's a very, very powerful affirmation. So here's a second one that I do. This has to do with a lot of different emotions when people are frustrated or angry and need to release. Something that really always kind of struck me in reading these different ascended masters. They talk about that we have a light body. So I know that I have a physical body, but I also have a light body. And some people say you have a Merkaba field, like an energetic field that goes around you. And depending on your level of consciousness and awareness and spirituality, that field can expand, 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 right? Much, much further than in this room. But you have an emotional light body, and so your emotions are being held in this light body, and that was so interesting to me. But one of the things is, guess what? We have emotions and are feeling all these different emotions, but it's not sometimes not at the tip of our head, like on our thoughts, but they're still there. There's still emotions that these feelings that need to be cleansed and released. And so one of the most powerful tools is the violet consuming flame. Right? It's the purple, a purple flame, a violent consuming flame. So this is an affirmation that I use to help cleanse my body and cleanse my mind. And you know, the Ascended Masters basically recommend you do this several times a day, you know. And so it doesn't take more than a minute. But here's the affirmation. And again, this is just a video of just like relaxing music. And the violet flame, as you can see right here, it's a beautiful representation. I silence the music so that you can just hear my voice in this affirmation. So here it is. Here's the affirmation. Mighty I am presence and the violet consuming flame. Consume all inharmonious thoughts and feelings. Consume all doubts and fears. And so, what I want you to imagine when you say that, imagine a purple flame just covering your entire body from head to toe. And this could be very powerful, especially when you're standing. So, I've done this oftentimes when I'm sitting, but when you're standing, it could even be more powerful because you're just consuming that. So, I'm going to do it one more time. You feel free to close your eyes or look at that purple flame as I share again the affirmation. Mighty I am presence and violet consuming flame. Consume all inharmonious thoughts and feelings. Consume all doubts and fears. And many times I blow because that in blowing out is almost a release. And sometimes it's almost visual to say, like, you're blowing on the flame to make it bigger and bigger, and it's release. Okay. So that's a very, very powerful affirmation slash meditation, right? For you to do. Okay. Here's another affirmation. I got a bunch of them for you to set you up for success. Mighty I am presence. And this is part, you say this affirmation usually at the end of a meditation once your whole light body and you've had that, imagine that white light hitting your third eye and your body and radiating from your heart. And just this is a great way to close it out. It's a great way for a gratitude journal. I write this every morning in my gratitude journal. Mighty I am presence. Govern perfectly my mind, my body, my affairs, my finances, and my world. Okay? Mighty I am presence. Govern perfectly my mind, my body, my affairs, my finances, and my world. And sometimes when I write this affirmation out, and even if I do in my journal, I'll even give it more specific. I'll say, Mighty I am presence, govern perfectly my mind. And I'll put in parentheses with wisdom, with insight, with memory, you know, and then I'll put my body with parentheses. I'll put strength, vitality, beauty, perfection, my affairs with love and opportunities, my finances with 10 times more than what I need for my needs. With, you know, the treasure trove of abundance flowing to me from cash and also just opportunities in terms of finances and abundance. And my world with more love and conscious awareness for all of humanity. So again, feel free to use some of those in terms of your affirmations or writing them out. But I found it very, very powerful. And then the last one that I'll share with you, I believe is the last one. I am a child of the light. I love the light. I serve the light. I am blessed by the light. I am enveloped by the light. I am supplied by the light. I am protected by the light. I am illuminated by the light. I am the light. Powerful stuff, right? Okay, well, let's keep going. So, we've been talking about connecting with your higher self. That one was all about affirmations. The last one is your dreams. Okay, this is my favorite. One of my mentors and my business partner that I work with is Gary Spalansky. He's a shamanic empathic healer. Some of you may know him. Guess what? He's going to be doing a live webinar for the CE5 community sometime, I believe, in June. So stay tuned. But he taught me this idea that there was three types of dreams. And once he told me this, I'm like, oh my goodness, this makes perfect sense. The first type of dream is your anxiety dreams, okay? What are your anxiety dreams? If you've ever dreamt that somehow you're in a room, you're talking to some person, something's happening, maybe not good, and then suddenly you're in another room, all right? And then suddenly you're in a different location, and things are just morphing from one thing to other, And so this is all just your anxieties played out. So there's no sequential story from beginning to end. It's just a mishmash of all these other kind of things. Why is that dream so important? Well, guess what? We have a lot of anxieties. People do. And sometimes those dreams are a form of releasing and experiencing those anxieties. So by actually seeing them, acting them out, whatever it is, it's a therapeutic release. Okay. The second type of dream is the future dream. Those are really cool because those are the dreams where you actually have a premonition. I've only met a couple people that have been able to have that where it's like they dream about something and then it happens to them, right? They saw it in the dream and it was already a anticipation of the future. I've known people, own family members, who actually knew in a dream and woke up and said, "Okay, this person is going to pass away," and guess what? That person did, and it's just very, very shocking. The third is my favorite, though, and that's called the spiritual dream. And what is the spiritual dream? The spiritual dream is when it's a very short dream. And that's what I love about it. It's short, but it's very, very clear. It's either it could be a relative, somebody who's passed away, talking to you in that dream. It's just there's something happens in that spiritual dream that's so special because it's a specific message that you need to have at that moment, right? And and if you guys have had those spiritual dreams, actually, I'm going to ask you, Yin. I feel like you sometimes have future dreams, or you always anticipate things that are going to happen. Do you have any of spiritual dreams, Yin, that you can share? I'd love to hear
Yeah, all the time.
it. Like what? Like what?
Um, um, I can't even think of one example. It's just all the time when I have a question or problem and then I just get a message and it helps me. It's for example, last year I was because I was doing the training for the hypnosis, right? And then I was actually debating whether I should go to the retreat or not. And then in my meditation, it's actually not a dream, but I was deep in the alpha state of meditation, and
Huh?
then all of a sudden I heard this name, and then I saw a hand open a calendar and then flip the calendar to the next page and then point it to a date, which is the event date. And then I just woke up from that meditation, was like, oh my God, I was actually meant to go to that. They're telling me to go to the event. It's going to help me. But yeah, I get a lot of those messages.
That's so awesome.
They're guiding me. They're guiding everybody. If you just get in tune with, those feelings, those dreams, and wake up and try to think about what's actually saying, and you receive more and more. A
Yeah,
lot of times we forget about the dreams when we wake up, but then try to reinforce it and then refresh your memory over and over. Yeah.
well, I'm so glad that you said that because that's actually one of the things. If you don't have often very spiritual dreams, that's why it's so important for you to meditate before you go to bed at night, right? Maybe that can
Yeah.
awaken that
Yeah.
ability. And what Yin said is like sometimes people forget, well, write it down, have a little journal. That's some of the best tips and practices. Don't move your body or mind upon waking. And the moment you open up your eyes, you're like, wow, that's an incredible dream. Like repeat that after you so you can remember it. Or
Yeah.
have a journal right next to you, and while it's fresh in your head, write that down. And you can even meditate and ask for an interpretation from your dreams, right? And remember, these dreams are symbolic; they could be metaphors. AK,
Yeah.
I saw your hand raised. Did you want to also share as well? Feel free to unmute.
Yeah. I actually took a nap before coming here. That's why I was a bit late, but it was a very action-oriented dream. It felt like a weird movie, and it was like there was this boat. I want to say it looked like an oil tanker. The focus wasn't on it, but there was a submarine that actually jumped and fell on it like a whale, which I found it funny
Oh,
because I was like, how does it have the physical prowess to like jump out of the ocean and like flatly land on the oil tanker or whatever? So yeah, I don't know what it was hinting to. I don't have an interpretation on it, but I just wanted to share that maybe someone else has it, and maybe it means something for someone else. Yeah, thank you.
Well, perfect. That would be a great spiritual dream, right? Because I don't think it was an anxiety dream that you have a fear of submarines jumping on boats and collapsing. But here's the perfect time. If you don't know the meaning to that dream, you can definitely do that meditation. I know that you may have missed it earlier because you came a little late, but rewatch the recording of this video that we'll send out in the next couple of days. But rewatch it and do one of those meditations, and then actually do some automatic writing and said, what did that dream mean? Right? Ask your higher self to say, and just write down whatever comes to your mind. It could mean this, and just blah, 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 and whatever comes up. And if you resonate with that, let it go, right? Because sometimes our conscious mind gets in the way. Like, what does that mean? What is that? It's like, no, relax. Allow that still small voice that all the religions always talked about to be able to get that insight. All right, and then I'll see Dina's comment, if I pronounced your name correctly, Dina, forgive me if I did it. I often meditate to a guided meditation on YouTube. That's great. Yeah, that's the one I use. As soon as I get up in bed and end up I end up falling asleep after about 5 minutes before the meditation has ended. Is that okay? I feel that my subconscious is still listening and getting me messages and benefits. Absolutely 100% it is okay, Dina. Like, and I love that you say that, because guess what? Meditation is about calming our mind, relaxing, and we are in this three-dimension reality. We got bills to pay, stuff like that. And what do we often do? We don't often get enough sleep. We often drink a lot of caffeine so that we can stay stimulated to go about our day. And guess what? High amounts of caffeine actually diminish your ability to connect with your higher self. So just be aware of that. I still drink caffeine, like in green tea and stuff like that, but I am very, very sensitive. So if you meditate and you fall asleep, what I always tell people, then God bless you, because that's what you needed for your meditation. You needed the sleep, okay? And you need to keep meditating, and you get your sleep, and then some of the most powerful meditations you can have are when you're fully rested, okay? So I'm glad. What a great question. Okay. I see your comment. Thanks for confirming. Glad to know I'm still getting the benefits even after I've dozed off. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going as we're wrapping up the end of this training. Constructive actions. That's the last thing that you could do with connecting with your higher self. Sometimes, have you ever been walking down the street and you just get this idea, or you're with a family member and somebody's talking, and you just get this flood of this positive action that you should take to either help that person or do something? Guess what? That's your higher self communicating with you. My job is right now is whenever those things come up to just do it. Okay. And that is you living on the edge of life, of being a companion to God, right? Remember the John Van Auken video? It's like, if you can take all your actions are constructive, that's great. But sometimes it doesn't mean you have to help everybody, right? Does that mean, oh, somebody asked for money, I need to actually give them money because that's a constructive thing to know? No, 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 no. That's actually not. Sometimes giving money or helping out a person would not be the constructive thing to do, or helping somebody, they sometimes have to learn their own lessons. So you should, whenever you're having doubt on when to do an activity or constructive action, always ask yourself this question: does this serve the highest good? Right? Ask your higher self to say, should I do this? Because maybe your mind's suggesting this constructive action, but it may not serve the highest good. I'm developing this in terms of even just interactions with people. Sometimes I think I have a funny joke, or sometimes I think I should share this with this person, but it's like my higher self's like, no, it doesn't serve the highest good for you to share that at this moment, right? And so I'd invite all of you to do the same. Okay. So these are the two very, very important books that have kind of awakened my spirituality. And whenever I share with people everything that I've learned, I always love to share, where did I get that from? Where did I read that? So these are two very powerful books: The Ancient Secret Flower of Life, from Drumbelow Melchizedek, and Unveiled Mysteries by Godfrey Ray King, also known as Guy Bullard. And the reason why these books were so powerful is because Drumbelow, in a deep meditation, had Thoth, the ascended master who lived at the time of Atlantis and in Egypt, appear to him. And he basically, communicated with him, and then wrote about all of his experiences. And the same thing with Guy Bullard. he had studied spirituality for over 30 years and walked on the Mount Shasta mountain in California. And finally, when he was spiritually evolved enough from all of his studying and 30 years of preparation, it was time, and Saint Germain appeared for him and then began to teach him all the different things about the principles of life and what it is to be human and what are the laws of humanity and how you can actually use the I am presence within you, the God within you, to live a constructive life. And so I read the books and I just was blown away, and it's just really changed my whole world. I would even say that Electus Society, everything that I've created in terms of conscious leaders goes back to even the books that I've read from Saint Germain. He even inspired me in those books to read the Bible and read the stories of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John about the stories of Jesus, just because he gave some interesting insights. So I just wanted to share that all with you. So that's the end of my presentation to help connect with your higher self and some of my favorite best meditations. So at this point, if you can, I'll take any questions that you might have. I always love feedback. So this is a QR code, but also I'm going to put it in the chat for those here on live where you can click on it and give your feedback. Does anybody have any questions for me? Or would you like to actually share anything that you really got out of this live webinar training? I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much. And while we're waiting for that, I just wanted to give you guys a couple announcements. Number one, the next major event that we're having is on Saturday, April 19th. We're going to have our C5 meetup group in Port Washington meet at Port Washington Library at 1:15. We have a special guest, Bobby the Messenger, who's going to be coming all the way from New Zealand to do a live conscious channeling of her experience with ETs, higher dimensional ET beings. Whether it's Cyanians, Palladians, very, very interesting. Those of you who are part of the CE5 community saw Bobby do some live webinars with us, and now we're going to get to meet her in person. So if you're in the New York area, in Port Washington, you'd like to come, just search in Google CE5 Meetup Port Washington, and then you'll find in the Google our meetup group, and then you can click to RSVP to these different events. Okay. And then the second event that I wanted to highlight on Tuesday, April 29th at 7 p.m., I'm going to be doing a training about radical remission, preventing and reversing cancer. I'm going to be telling my whole experience with my wife getting breast cancer and our experience in the medical traditional establishment and all the different books and research I've read about why do people get cancer and how do we prevent ourselves from getting cancer. And if we get cancer, what we can do to reverse that cancer. So again, I don't claim to be a doctor or anything like that. It's just I'm sharing my experience and all my research, and I'll be quoting what the different traditional oncologists said, as well as my research down the rabbit hole, as well as a healthy alternative oncologists have actually said and gave us different recommendations and what they said, as well as a lot of other different healing modalities. So I look forward for you guys to check that out. So in the meantime, again, taking questions and answers. AK, you raise your hand. You have a question. Go ahead, shoot.
Yeah, I was just wondering, is Bobby's event also going to be like recorded or like shared online at some point?
Yes, it is going to be recorded. We're actually bringing a camera person, Amir. He's part of our C5 group. He's going to bring two cameras. We're going to put a lapel mic on her, and we are actually going to record her portion. What she's going to be doing at this event is really telling a little bit more about her life story, her strange experiences, unbelievable experiences connecting with ETs, as well as, remember, she'll also take questions from the audience about. She also does a lot of readings for people. Sometimes a lot of people are really struggling with what to do in their life. She does even tarot card readings, etc. And she can actually ask the guides, well, what are they telling me that this person needs? So again, this is really just a meet and greet event. She's going to just share about her life story. We have other events that are happening in the near future because she's going to be here for a whole month. And in New York City, we're going to have different events where Bobby's going to actually have talks about specific subjects, about how we're living in turbulent times and how it's important to connect with God's source, which I would define as connecting with your higher self. And so I look forward to once that video is recorded and sharing it for those who can't make it. But AK, if you're in the area, we'd love to see you there. Okay. Any other questions from the group? I see, Dina, you had one question. One quick question. Any suggestion on how to prevent your legs from falling asleep while you're sitting in half lotus positions during a lot of meditations? I'm so glad you asked. I have been doing meditations for so long, I do not cross my legs. Oh, blasphemy. All the images of all the meditations, holding your fingers like this, crossing your legs. I do not believe in crossing them because the whole idea of the meditation was to be actually relaxed. If for those of you, meditation is what is the most comfortable position for you. And going back to what we said before, well, what if I'm lying down and I meditate and I fall asleep? And I'm like, well, then that's what's meant to happen. You need to catch up on your sleep. Thank goodness that the meditation is helping you getting deep rest, okay? And keep doing it and keep resting. So I personally do my meditation sitting on the couch in my office, or I do it completely lying down on my bed. And if you're worried about falling asleep after your meditation, because hey, we have to work, we have to do stuff to do, always set an alarm. Hey, SIRI, set an alarm for 15 minutes. Boom, do it. Lie down, meditate. That's all you need. Okay. So I hope that answers your question, Dina. Also, I saw a comment from what else? Oh, Yin, you made a comment. My favorite meditation is pure silence. I don't have a name for it. I just feel present. I love that. Okay. AK, you raise your hand again. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, yeah, at the start of the presentation was interesting because it's similar to the one of the shows I watched in Gaia where they like took DNA and like they compared it to like Hebrew characters, and it actually spells Yahweh. And it's interesting because you mentioned I. There was a couple of phrases in the Bible that the I am portion, and so it actually matches up with like the elements on the periodic table. So I found that fascinating. So I put a picture of that. And
Oh,
there's also a song actually by Lisa Michelle that she says she says it as wow way hey, which is a little bit off, but I found it fascinating that the synchronicity of that, me hearing that song a couple of days ago, and from years ago, actually, I kind of got the meaning of it today. So in your presentation, so yeah, thank.
that's awesome. And AK, you also published a YouTube link. What is that video of? I just saw it in the chat.
Yeah, that was the song by Lisa Michelle,
Oh, okay, that's very
singing
cool.
Wahe or
All right,
Wehe.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm gonna listen to that. Thank you so much. I appreciate for sharing that. Uh, so Dina actually mentioned something, reconnecting to your higher self, yes, and saying goes, prayer is asking, meditation is listening. Absolutely, I love that. And Yin said so true. All right, well, I'm looking at the time. We should probably end it right now. So again, if you have your feedback, please send the survey, and I'll send you recordings of all these different YouTube meditations as well. I'm sorry that you guys didn't get to hear the sound bowl meditation, but I'll also send that link for you as well. And I appreciate all of you for being here, for the people who attended here live, and your great questions and your comments. And we'll be publishing this video shortly on YouTube. And have a wonderful day. Please remember to meditate, and also remember to the 5 ways to connect to your higher self, right? Which is meditation, automatic writing, affirmations, as we talked about, your dreams, as well as taking constructive actions. Thank you, everybody, so much. Have a great night. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for watching this video clip about conscious leadership. If you are committed to helping to create more conscious leaders in this world, that is, leaders with more humility, more integrity, more awareness, that take constructive action, then consider helping us by making a donation. Our goal is to have 600 conscious leaders developed before the end of this year. Currently, as of December 1st, we already have 400 members. And again, with your help, we can grow even further. How can you help us? Simply make a donation. If you visit buymeacoffee.com/Electus Society, you can either choose to give a monthly donation and join, and you get different access to a lot of these different membership benefits, or simply make a one-time donation. Click on the heart support button, choose 1, 3, 5, or type in any number of amount of coffees. Hit the support button, and you can upload your card information on the secure platform. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and let's continue our mission of building more leaders. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.